Um, I decided to pull out one of the old Samsung Gear VRs. I don't know if you guys remember those. You slide a Samsung phone into it, and it's a VR headset.
Yeah.
And, well, I had to get an older phone to try and make it work. I pulled out an S7. But when you hook it into the USB port on these, it automatically tries to download some software. It's automatic process. And, well, it wouldn't load any of those applications. They weren't available anymore. So there is a process for which you can manually go and get the applications and install them yourself. That might work. But the problem is I went to the websites where these old applications were stored, and they just seemed sketchy as hell. The websites. So, in order to make this still useful, because the lenses are still good, and it's got that nice focus. You can't use the buttons with it, but what you can do is put some kind of spacer next to the USB port to prevent it from connecting, and use Google Cardboard. So that's what I've done, and it allows me to use all the different applications that are available for Google Cardboard. I did have to pair a mouse to it, so that way I had a little bit more control. I could go back, I could go forward, things like that, or select various things. But it's not really that good of an interface. So it's a little difficult to control. You're constantly having to take the phone out to pick your next application to try it out, and things like that. So there are evidently people still developing games for Google Cardboard.
Really?
Yeah, but Gear VR in this way is, really dead. So
if you wanted to use native Gear VR stuff, you're just out of luck. You have to go to Google Cardboard.
pretty much.
So what did you try out?
Oh, just I don't even remember. I know I tried out. There's several like video watching games that are video watching applications that you can install on there. I tried a bunch of those, and then there was some space game whose name I can't remember for the life of me. And the controls are, you look at a certain point and you wait for something to react. A lot of it also with the Google Cardboard, you're supposed to have that magnetic thing next to the phone. So I didn't have all the control that I was supposed to have. But yeah, I think I have an actual Google Cardboard around somewhere, and a couple of different of the VR headsets that you can set phones into. Just none of them have ever been big enough for like the S24 Ultra that I've ever gotten.
What year did that Gear VR come out? Do you remember?
It came out the same generation as the S7.
Okay.
If I remember right, because
well, it's been a while.
Yeah, S7 through S10, and then the Note 10 didn't work with it. But there were two of the Gear VRs that came out. There was this one that just had the micro USB, and then there was another one that had a replaceable connector where you could like pull it off and put on a different one, where you could use USB-C with it. And then about the time that came out, they were just like, nah, we're not doing this anymore. Here's the Oculus.
Now,
Enjoy.
does that Gear VR, does it have its own speakers?
No. No, it's got volume control, it's got up, down, front, back, and a back button. And you can do pass-through charging if you can have it connected. So yeah, and then adjustable focus.
And it uses your phone's, what's it called, gyroscope or whatever that is.
Yeah. So it's still a good device. I hate to see it go to waste, but I was looking at Facebook Marketplace today, and I saw like the first gen Oculus for $40. supposed to be in working condition.
Now, say you wanted to play like an emulator and use a Bluetooth controller and then have the VR gear as the headset.
I am interested in that and having like just straight output, having it split and then coming in. But I haven't found anything that will do that.
Okay, I didn't know if you try that or not.
Or like being able to use just regular Android applications and have them, you know, your entire desktop and everything split and being able to use it like a regular Android desktop.
Right.
I haven't seen anything that will allow you to do that. But like I said, I do see a first-gen Oculus Quest on Facebook Marketplace near me for like $40. And I think that's a good price to be able to test things out. Only problem is, you know, everything else I got going on that's hemorrhaging money. Oh, and then here's another one. The Oculus VR with a case matrix case for $60. And that looks like a pretty solid case, and it does have both controllers.
Now, do you guys remember the Linux VR deal? It was called the Simula One VR computer, and it looked ridiculous on the guy's face, and he was in the restaurant, and he was talking. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember how
nothing but a bunch of terminals open up?
Yeah, you remember how long ago that was a long time ago we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's still pre-order only. I'm looking at the website now. It hasn't come out. So Joe is getting more use out of this how many years old Gear VR than you would have gotten out of Simula VR.
That I got for free.
That he got for free.
It came with the phone.
Because at least it exists.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, somebody has an Oculus Quest 3 listed. I don't trust this though. For $85, because the MetaQuest 3 is the new one, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't keep up with it. Yeah, the last they have like progress upgrades on the Simula VR, which is the Linux VR set. Last one was August 16th. That's today.
Well, like these Oculus ones, they're standalone, right? I don't need to hook them up to a PC or anything like that.
The Oculus, right? They're standalone. My friend has that. Is that the Meta one?
Oh, there's a bunch of them that are listed here. Like the one I was looking at for $40 was the Oculus Quest.
I mean, that's the one that Meta owns, right? Not the Steam one or the HTC one. Yeah, they don't. It's not hooked up to anything. It's its own deal.
Okay.
It's pretty fun. We played mini golf. We played some rhythm games, Ghostbusters. It's cool.
Well, I figure, you know, if I'm not able to watch Deadpool in theater, I wouldn't mind watching it in VR.
Yeah.
Still get that big screen experience.
Doesn't YouTube have VR videos too, or?
Well, I know that they have a VR app along with Netflix. Netflix has a VR app. They've always had. That was one of the things that I loved about this back in the day. The Gear VR was the fact that you could hook your phone up to it and it would show almost like a drive-in theater, but you could even have it look like, you know, Ant-Man had shrunk you down and there were like ants and giant pieces of candy sitting around and then like a tablet screen and you could just watch the movie that way and it'd be freaking huge. It was a fun little experience.
That's pretty cool. I remember YouTube had those. Maybe they still do the 360 videos where you could turn your head and see where you're at in the video. They're shot with a 360 camera. And then Google Maps had the same thing, or Google Earth, I mean.
So my guess is that like these different Oculus devices are basically the exact same thing as the Gear VR, except the
You don't need a
phone's
phone
not
for 'em.
detachable.
Right. Yeah, the ones I used was, it had the speakers and it had the weird controller thing that you hold. You got two of
Motion
them.
Joy-Cons or whatever.
Yeah, and that's how you navigate. But I'm glad to hear that you can at least do something with your Gear VR still.